Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you're an engineer, a procurement consultant, or a project manager dealing with heavy industry, you already know that evaluating global supply chain stability is absolutely paramount, right? I mean, you can't just look at a spreadsheet. You have to understand where things are actually built. So today, we're going to decode the geographic blueprint of China's special vehicle manufacturing bases. We're going to explore exactly how these massive industrial clusters operate together, why they're located where they are, and most importantly, what that actually means for global supply chains.
But first, we really have to ask a foundational question. Why are special vehicles in a league of their own? Like, why treat them any differently than just a standard commercial fleet of delivery trucks? Well, the crucial point here is that special vehicles require incredibly complex secondary manufacturing. You literally can't just roll them off an assembly line ready to pump concrete or transport hazardous chemicals. They need highly specific functional equipment added to them. We're talking high-pressure hydraulic pumps, pressurized tanks, or these massive telescopic cranes. And because of all that extra gear, they require completely unique safety certifications and serious structural modifications to the original chassis just to handle those intense new physical stresses.
So, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll map out the special vehicle ecosystem, then look at the two-stage manufacturing process, take a tour of the heavy-duty construction hubs, check out logistics and niche markets, and finally, wrap the whole thing up with global standards and maintenance.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the special vehicle ecosystem.
To really understand how this works, we kind of have to reframe our thinking. We shouldn't view China merely as a country that produces vehicles, but rather as a highly organized network of distinct, specialized operational ecosystems. A special vehicle manufacturing base isn't just some random cluster of factories that happen to share a zip code. No, it's a deeply vertically integrated geographic zone. Basically, you have a primary OEM, an original equipment manufacturer, acting as the foundation, and they collaborate directly with literally thousands of Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers. Together, they manufacture and mount that specialized equipment onto truck chassis. And what's really fascinating here is that these bases are often officially designated by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology as specialized zones. This is a huge deal because it means they benefit from massive shared resources, including shared R&D centers, expansive testing grounds, and highly optimized, high-strength steel supply chains.
Think of it kind of like a giant industrial solar system. You have the standard truck chassis, right? That's your heavy, reliable foundation. But the true complexity lies in the integration of the upper works. The primary OEM essentially acts as the sun, the anchor tenant of the city, and thousands of specialized small and medium enterprises just orbit right around it. These smaller suppliers provide exactly what is needed for that highly specific upper body, which creates this incredibly dense, tightly knit web of manufacturing capability.
Moving right along to Section 2, the two-stage manufacturing process.
So the mechanical logic that makes these ecosystems run so efficiently operates on a very clear two-stage principle. Step 1, the massive chassis manufacturers, names you're probably familiar with, like Dongfeng, FAW, or Isuzu China, they produce the naked truck. This is just your bare frame, the engine, and the cab. Nothing fancy yet. Then comes Step 2, the special vehicle factory, which is located right there in the very same base, installs those custom upper works. Honestly, the sheer physical proximity of these two stages is the absolute secret to this incredible competitive edge.
The real magic here comes down to one single mind-blowing number: 5 miles. An engineer in one of these hubs can source a high-pressure hydraulic cylinder, a specialized power takeoff unit, and a custom-fitted subframe, literally all within a 5-mile radius of their desk. Think about what that does to a project timeline. It dramatically reduces what the industry calls logistics dead time. You aren't waiting weeks for a part to ship across the country. It allows for rapid, iterative design. I mean, if a prototype doesn't fit exactly right, the supplier is practically down the street to come and fix it. It's a total game changer.
Okay, let's get into Section 3, heavy-duty construction hubs.
We're going to start with the muscle hubs. These are the cities entirely dedicated to engineering equipment for the world's most extreme construction and mining logistics. It's wild how hyper-specialized these places are. Xi'an, anchored by Dongfeng Motor, is your starting point for heavy vocational chassis. They provide the extreme powertrain durability you need for off-road 4x4s and heavy concrete mixers. Then you've got Changsha, home to global giants like Sany and Zoomlion. They are the absolute masters of long-reach structural integrity, building those massive concrete pump trucks and towering aerial platforms. Down in Jinan with Sinotruk, the engineering focus shifts entirely to high-torque drivetrain cooling and reinforced frames designed to haul massive 50-ton payloads straight out of mines. And finally, Exosu, anchored by XCMG, is the national epicenter for telescopic lifting technology and heavy structural welding for mobile cranes. Basically, you don't just buy a crane from anywhere, you buy it from the exact ecosystem that specializes in lifting.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this intense regional specialization is exactly how they conquer extreme operating environments. Take our final heavy hub, Butt 2 up in Inner Mongolia. Butt 2 leverages its historical defense industry roots with the North Industries Group to build the most rugged special vehicles in China. We're talking tracked vehicles and non-highway mining trucks specifically designed to survive brutal high-dust environments where temperatures regularly plummet to -40 degrees Celsius. That requires a completely different approach to metallurgy and fluid dynamics than your standard commercial truck.
All right, on to Section 4, Logistics and Niche Markets.
Shifting gears away from heavy construction, we see a completely different set of engineering priorities in these precision hubs. Langshan is the global trailer hub. They leverage massive economies of scale in high-strength steel fabrication to literally set the pricing benchmark for the entire global trailer market. Now compare that to Yangzhou, where the absolute focus is cold chain logistics. They specialize in sandwich panel technology, fiberglass skins, and thermal bridge prevention, which is absolutely critical for safe medical waste and refrigerated transport. Over in Zhengzhou, anchored by Yutong, the expertise is all about passenger and medical units. They focus heavily on onboard lithium power and medical-grade air filtration for things like mobile clinics and high-end RVs. Finally, you have Luzhou dominating the micro-special vehicle segment. They build urban last-mile utility and micro-sanitation vehicles designed specifically to navigate incredibly narrow city streets where a full-size truck simply cannot maneuver.
But you know, when we talk about niche markets, all roads lead to one staggering number, 200. That is how many registered manufacturers are packed into the city of Suzhou alone, anchored by Changli Special Automobile. This immense concentration of specialized factories has firmly cemented Suzhou's official status as the special vehicle capital of China. Seriously, if you need a highly complex sanitation truck, a specialized fire engine, or a meticulously regulated chemical transport vehicle, Suzhou's engineers are the undisputed masters of integrating those complex hydraulic systems with domestic chassis. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Global Standards and Maintenance. Because designing these fascinating machines is really only half the battle, right? We need to understand how they're regulated and maintained once they hit the global market. When evaluating supply chain stability, industry professionals prioritize strict technical compliance. Vehicles coming out of these bases adhere to rigorous standards, GB/T standards for national safety, mandatory CCC certification for anything driving on a public road, and quality management systems like ISO 9001 or IATF 1694-49 to ensure consistent manufacturing across the entire supply chain. They also meet really stringent Euro V emission standards, which requires complex tech like selective catalytic reduction and particulate filters. Make no mistake here, major manufacturers in these hubs are producing highly compliant export-grade units that meet regulatory requirements for specialized industrial use all across Southeast Asia, Africa, the Middle East, the EU, and the US.
And this whole chassis plus upper model creates a brilliant, highly effective dual support maintenance system. When a vehicle is deployed globally, the chassis itself, the engine, the cab, the transmission, can be easily serviced by the expansive global network of the primary OEM, like Dongfeng or Sinotruk. Meanwhile, that highly specialized upper equipment is maintained using standardized components that are universally manufactured across that specific base. It drastically simplifies procurement for replacement parts and minimizes operational downtime. It's just incredibly smart engineering. So what you should ultimately take away from this explainer is the sheer hyper-efficiency of that 5-mile radius supply chain. By concentrating expertise into these specific cities, regional specialization ensures that engineering teams are intimately familiar with the unique operational stresses of their specific niche. Whether they're designing for a sub-zero mining pit in Inner Mongolia or a highly sterile mobile clinic in a dense urban center, this tight geographic integration drastically reduces logistics dead time and fuels continuous, rapid innovation. I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to ponder today. When an entire ecosystem operates within a 5-mile radius, are we just buying a vehicle, or are we plugging into the most efficient industrial solar system on Earth? It really does make you marvel at the sheer scale and deliberate organization of these manufacturing hubs.
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a much sharper, geographically focused lens through which to view global industrial supply chains. Keep learning, keep asking great questions, and I absolutely encourage you to explore the capabilities of these fascinating manufacturing bases even further. See you next time.